Welcome back to EtherLink AI Insights. I'm Alex, and today we're diving into a topic that's reshaping how businesses operate across Europe. AI chatbots for customer service automation, with a sharp focus on Tampeer, Finland, and how to navigate the EU AI Act landscape. Sam, thanks for joining me.
Great to be here, Alex. This is a fascinating case study because Tamper isn't just any city. It's a real-world laboratory for how SMEs and mid-market companies are balancing innovation with regulatory compliance. The EU AI Act isn't hypothetical anymore. It's shaping deployment decisions right now.
Exactly. Before we jump into the numbers, let's set the context. Tampere is Finland's second-largest city, home to about 12,000 registered businesses. What makes it such a compelling case study for AI chatbot adoption?
A few things converge there. First, you've got a strong tech ecosystem, 850 tech and software companies, backed by Tampeer University's AI Research Center. Second, the underlying industries are labor-intensive: manufacturing, healthcare, tourism, hospitality. Those sectors have real customer service pain points that AI can solve immediately. And third, Finnish companies are forward-leaning on AI adoption. 67% of Tamper ASMEs are exploring or actively implementing AI tools, compared to just 54% across the Nordic region on average.
That's a 13-point gap. That's significant. But here's what I want to understand. What are the actual customer service bottlenecks these businesses face? Why are chatbots becoming essential rather than optional?
Three big ones. First, response time expectations have compressed dramatically. In Finland, 78% of consumers expect chat responses within 2 hours. For a traditional support team, that's brutal. Especially when you're handling multi-language inquiries, because many Tamper companies serve Nordic and international markets. Second, seasonal demand spikes in hospitality and e-commerce create staffing chaos. You hire seasonal workers, train them, and then they're gone. Third, the cost of skilled customer service staff in Tamper is real. We're talking $2,100 to $2,800 per month, plus employer contributions. A single AI chatbot handling 200 to 300 inquiries daily can pay for itself in 12 to 18 months.
Okay, so the business case is straightforward, but let's talk numbers more broadly. What does the data actually say about ROI when companies deploy these solutions?
According to Deloitte's 2024 Global AI Adoption Report, we're seeing some really compelling metrics. Organizations deploying LLM-powered chatbots are reporting a 45% reduction in customer service operating costs through automation of routine inquiries. Think refund requests, order status checks, FAQ responses. Response time improves by 67%, collapsing from 4 to 6 hours down to under 10 minutes for chat. Customer satisfaction scores jump by 38% when bots handle initial triage, and human agents suddenly have 52% more capacity to focus on complex, high-value interactions.
Those are staggering numbers. But I think the audience is probably thinking, if this is so good, why hasn't every business in Tamper already deployed a chatbot? What's the hesitation?
The EU AI Act, and this is where it gets nuanced. Conversational AI falls into a category where you need to think carefully about risk classification, transparency, bias, and governance. Many Tamper SMEs, frankly, don't know where to start. They see the ROI, but they're concerned about compliance, liability, and how to audit their systems. That's where AI-led architecture consulting becomes essential, not just deploying a chatbot, but deploying one that's governance first from day one.
So compliance isn't a checkbox at the end, it's baked into the design. Let's talk about that lead qualification angle too, because that's a separate use case that's really gaining traction. What's happening there?
This is where the ROI extends beyond cost savings into revenue acceleration. Tamper's B2B software companies, machinery manufacturers, consulting firms, they're using conversational AI to qualify inbound leads in real time. A chatbot trained to ask targeted discovery questions, budget, timeline, decision maker availability, can reduce sales cycle length by 25 to 35% and dramatically improve lead quality by filtering for high intent prospects. Instead of sales reps chasing unqualified leads, they're walking into conversations that are already half qualified. That's powerful.
So you're basically using the chatbot as a sales accelerator, not just a cost reducer. That changes the conversation. How does a business in Tampere actually approach this? What's the deployment framework looking like?
It starts with clarity on what the chatbot will actually do and under what conditions. You define the scope. Is it handling FAQs and order status? Is it qualifying leads? Is it collecting customer data? Each use case has different EU AI Act implications. Then you audit your training data. Bias is real, and European regulations require you to demonstrate fairness. You establish clear escalation protocols when the bot should hand off to a human. And crucially, you set up monitoring and governance frameworks to track how the system performs over time and catch drift or bias creep.
That sounds like a structured, almost cautious approach. Is that slowing down deployment in Tampeer, or is it actually enabling faster, more confident scaling?
It's the latter. Businesses that front-load governance actually deploy faster because they're not second-guessing themselves or retrofitting compliance months down the road. They also avoid the reputational and legal risk of an opaque system that makes biased decisions. In Tampere's close-knit business community, word travels fast. A company that deploys a chatbot responsibly becomes a reference point. One that deploys carelessly becomes a cautionary tale.
That's a really good point. So if I'm a mid-sized manufacturing company in Tampeer right now, thinking about deploying a chatbot in 2026, what should I actually be thinking about?
3 things. First, define your specific use case. Don't just deploy a generic chatbot. Solve a real problem. Second, think about data and governance from day one. What data are you feeding the model? How will you audit it? Who's responsible when something goes wrong? Third, plan for human oversight. The best systems aren't fully autonomous. They're augmented. Bots handle volume and speed. Humans provide judgment and empathy. That combination is where the real ROI lives.
And on the compliance side, what's the practical playbook? The EU AI Act is real, but it's also complex. How do Tamper businesses actually operationalize it?
You need an AI governance framework that sits alongside your chatbot deployment. That means documenting your model's training data, performance metrics, and bias testing. You establish clear policies on transparency. Customers should know they're talking to a bot. You define escalation triggers. If the chatbot's confidence is below a threshold or it encounters an unexpected question type, it escalates to a human. You also monitor performance over time. A chatbot that works perfectly on day one might drift if user behavior changes. Continuous monitoring catches that early.
So it's almost like treating the chatbot as a product with ongoing maintenance and governance, not just a one-time implementation. That's a mindset shift for a lot of organizations.
Absolutely. And that's actually where companies in Tampeer that get this right gain competitive advantage. They're not just adopting chatbots faster, they're adopting them smarter and more responsibly. That builds trust with customers, reduces regulatory risk, and ultimately drives better business outcomes.
Let me ask you this. We've talked about manufacturing, healthcare, tourism in Tampeer. Are there industries where a chatbot deployment would be riskier or more complex from a compliance standpoint?
Financial services and healthcare are always higher risk because decisions made by the AI can directly affect customer welfare or data privacy. A chatbot handling billing inquiries in a healthcare context needs to be bulletproof on bias and transparency. Similarly, any use case involving personal data collection triggers GDPR implications on top of the EU AI Act. That doesn't mean don't deploy. It means deploy with extra rigor on the governance side.
Okay, so we've covered the business case, the compliance landscape, and the practical deployment framework. What's the bottom line for a business owner in Tampere listening to this right now?
2 things. First, the ROI is real: 45% cost reduction, 67% faster response times, 38% better customer satisfaction. That's not theoretical. Second, compliance is not an obstacle, it's an enabler. Governance-first deployment actually accelerates growth and builds customer trust. The businesses winning right now are the ones that see the EU AI Act not as a barrier, but as a framework for deploying responsibly and scaling confidently.
Sam, thanks for walking through this with us. For listeners who want the full deep dive, case studies, more detailed ROI analysis, and specific governance best practices for SMEs, head over to etherlink.ai and find the complete article on AI chatbots for customer service automation in Tampeer. We've put together a comprehensive guide that covers everything from compliance frameworks to implementation timelines. Thanks for listening to EtherLink AI Insights. I'm Alex, and I'll see you next time.